What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction video for UFC Singapore. We got Max Holloway going against Chan Sung Jung.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another main event breakdown and prediction video. This week we are talking the main event for UFC Singapore, Max Holloway, Korean Zombie. It's a fan-pleasing main event, I'd say. When I saw this fight was announced, I thought right away this fight's going to be an absolute banger. Two of my personal favorite fighters. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. Is it a fight that should be sanctioned? Probably not at this point, and we'll kind of talk about why we see that Holloway's a massive favorite already. And we'll talk about the fight, but I think at the very least it's going to be a fun one if you do enjoy, guys punching each other in the face, which there's going to be a lot of that in this matchup. So before we get started and get into, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to the channel. I'll be putting out UFC Singapore content throughout the week, as well as Dana White's Contender Series content as well. So make sure you are subscribed to not miss out on all of that. So let's start with the tail of the tape. And we'll kick it to Max Holloway, who is 31 years old, 5'11", with a 69-inch reach, 24-7, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. The Korean Zombie, 36 years old, 5'7", with a 72-inch reach, 17-7, and he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We take a look at the odds. Max Holloway, very big favorite. I think he's the second biggest favorite on this card. So Max Holloway actually opened up minus 1,000, believe it or not. He is currently sitting at minus 725, and then the Korean Zombie opened up plus 700, currently sitting at plus 525. So, yeah, I mean, I want to give the Korean Zombie, more of a chance than this line does indicate, but to be honest, it's kind of hard to do so. So, rewind back to 2020 when he fought Brian Ortega. That was the fight where Brian Ortega took like a massive layoff, like 2-year layoff. Came back. We weren't really knowing what we're going to expect from Brian Ortega. I actually thought it was, on paper, a very good matchup for the Korean Zombie, just because Zombie has a BJJ black belt, very good takedown defense, and then he probably should be the better striker than Brian Ortega, right? But he looked off in that Brian Ortega fight. Like, he looked like very, very bad in the striking against Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega just dominated him, from pillar to post, hurting him multiple times, almost finishing him on multiple different occasions. Brian Ortega knocked him down twice. And at that point, I was like, what's going on with the Korean Zombie? And then after the fight, he came out saying, he was dealing with some stuff, and, maybe you can't look into that much, but just a weird performance from the Korean Zombie. Then he goes out there, great stylistic matchup against Dan Ige, where he goes out there and uses his takedowns, his grappling, and kind of grinds out a decision over 25 minutes against Dan Ige. Good win, and then he gets the title shot against Alexander Volkanovski and just looks bad. And is it because he fought Alexander Volkanovski, who is one of the best guys in the UFC? Yeah, that probably had something to do with it, but still, I mean, just wasn't even the slightest bit competitive. I mean, he just looked done. He looked kind of washed in that fight. So I'm not really sure, how the Korean Zombie wins this fight, because he's not going to out-volume Max Holloway. Nobody out-volumes Max Holloway unless you're Alexander Volkanovski. And is Korean Zombie going to take down Max Holloway like he did Dan Ige? Absolutely not. Max Holloway's takedown defense is elite. Some of the best takedown defense in the featherweight division at 84%. And lastly, is the Korean Zombie going to knock out Max Holloway, who, it's actually funny, every time Max Holloway fights, people are saying his chin is going to finally crack. And I think we're going to keep saying that for a very long time. I'm not sure it ever does crack, to be honest. I mean, Max Holloway has absorbed a just ridiculous amount of punches to the face, and I think I've seen him hurt once, and it was the Dustin Poirier fight where he went up a weight class. That's like the only time I remember seeing Holloway hurt. He was hurt a little bit in the Volkanovski fight, the third one, but yeah, this guy's just chin is next level. Whereas Zombie, this is a guy that, is a zombie, right? He's known for the durability. I'm not sure if the durability's still there. I mean, he just was not reacting well to shots against Alexander Volkanovski, who, don't get me wrong, hits hard, but my goodness. Just did not like how he was looking in that fight. It kind of looked a lot like the Gaethje-Ferguson fight, right? Where Gaethje was just beating him up and just Ferguson with the bad body language. It looked a lot like that. Like everything that Volkanovski was landing was getting a reaction out of the Korean Zombie, and the ref was forced to step in and stop the fight. And like I said, against Brian Ortega, I mean, Brian Ortega, this guy's striking's improved. He has power, but my goodness, I mean, getting dropped twice by Brian Ortega is not the best look in the world. So I just don't really like this matchup for the Korean Zombie. Obviously, it's not a hot take. Max Holloway's a very big favorite. Am I going out there and laying minus 725 on Max Holloway? No, I'm not. But I will be placing a bet on Max Holloway in some type of fashion, whether it's the 4-5 decision prop, which is always very much in play. I think the late finish props are going to be there for Max Holloway. I could see like a doctor stoppage, a corner stoppage. I'm not sure this fight should be happening, to be honest. Like I'm a big fan of the Korean Zombie, but I would like to see him go out there and not fight some of these top guys anymore. Like, don't go out there and fight a Volkanovski, an Ortega, a Max Holloway. Take a step back, a little bit, right? So he's 36 years old at this point, and he's taken a ton of damage, and I think the damage is starting to add up. It's funny, both guys have taken an incredible amount of damage, but Max Holloway's really not showing any signs of slowing down, any signs of that durability really fading, whereas the complete opposite is there for the Korean Zombie. He is showing signs of fading. He's showing signs of slowing down, and at 36 years old of age, I just don't like his chances in this matchup. Like, even in the Korean Zombie's prime, I mean, how's he going to go out there and beat Max Holloway? Like I said, is he finishing him? No. Is he taking him down? No. Is he knocking him out? No. So I just don't see how he wins this fight. Unless like Max Holloway just completely looks past the Korean Zombie. If Max Holloway shows up, I mean, this is a very winnable fight, and quite frankly, this is the easiest fight for Max Holloway since maybe Frankie Edgar a couple years ago. Maybe not even that. I don't know. Like, this is the easiest fight for Holloway in a while because he's fought Volk 3 times. He fought Arnold Allen, Yair, Calvin Kattar. This is a big step down for Max Holloway. So I think Max Holloway can finish him. I think he can really put it on him. The thing is, I just don't see, Max Holloway's going to go out there and land upwards of 150 to 200. We've seen Max Holloway land 445 strikes in a fight. I just don't see a world where the Korean Zombie eats 150 to 200 punches against really anybody at this point of his career. So maybe I'm off. Maybe the Korean Zombie still has a lot left in the tank. I'm curious to hear the interviews with the Korean Zombie. Chris Weidman at Interview Day was talking about how he's still in his prime and going for another title run. I'm curious to hear if the Korean Zombie's going for another title run. But I just don't see it. I think he is approaching the end of his career here. So give me Max Holloway, and give me Max Holloway. I think it's like late 3rd, 4th round finish there. And like I said, from a betting perspective, you don't want to lay the minus 725 on Max Holloway. I'm curious to see where they put like Holloway inside the distance. Maybe it'll be plus money. Maybe just because Max Holloway, not the best finisher in the world. But like I said, he's been fighting such good competition. Arnold Allen, the Calvin Katars, Volkanovskis. You're not finishing any of those guys. The over-under set at 2.5 rounds, and it got smashed to the over, rightfully so. I don't see this fight finishing within the first couple rounds. I think it's a late finish, if a finish at all. So yeah, the over 2.5 rounds is smashed. I think that could be a potential parlay piece. But yeah, I think Max Holloway gets him out of their 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th round sprinkles are always in play for Max Holloway. Just the way this guy fights. He's the guy that goes out there. He puts up a ton of volume, not a ton of power. It's kind of attritional damage, and I can see him knocking out Jung as the fight goes on. So 3, 4, 5 sprinkles for me. The 4-5 decision for Max Holloway. I know they put that on FanDuel Sportsbook. I think that could be a good look as well. So I think there's different ways to play it, but I will not be touching the Korean Zombie side in this fight. And it's sad, man. Like I really don't think this fight should be sanctioned. To be honest, maybe I'm being too harsh on the Korean Zombie. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. But my goodness, I just don't like how he's looked in his last couple performances. So, and I still think Max Holloway has a lot left to give at this point. Only 31 years old. So, give me Max Holloway to get it done this weekend. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could leave a like on your way out, let me know in the comments who you guys have. Let me know if anybody has like the Korean Zombie. I mean, I'd be interested to hear if anybody's on the Korean Zombie this week. I don't think many people will be, but maybe there are some. Look out for Dana White's Contender Series content. Look out for the full card breakdown. Both of those will be dropping on Monday. And more content throughout the week. Prize picks, DraftKings content, betting content, you name it. Make sure you subscribe to not miss out on that. Best of luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.